Welcome to the credits video for Let's Play Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. I'm BurningDogFace, and that felt a bit abrupt to me. I don't know about you guys. We didn't even get like a final conversation between the prince and Razia. It was a pretty good boss fight, though. I gotta give you that. I would say that this game kind of struggled to live up to the reputation of the main Sands of Time trilogy, but I think it did a pretty admirable job of trying. I mean, okay, the story was a bit weak, but I really enjoyed the new water freezing mechanics, even as they were driving me to insanity with frustration, because that's a really neat idea for a platforming mechanic. You know, the decreased focus on the time travel was a little disappointing. And I still think it's weird that they made the prince look different in just this one. But, all things considered, I had a pretty good time with this game. I wonder if I would have had such a problem with the final climb if I hadn't so recently come back from a month break from the game. But hey, maybe it ended a bit abruptly, but we still struck down Ratash and saved Malik's kingdom. He even thanked us for doing it. I was not expecting that final goodbye with Malik, which was sad, but probably about the best way that could turn out. I wonder if Pelixiano is a person or a company or something. Honestly, I'm just a bit sad that, there's no more Prince of Persia. But if this is the way it had to go out, well, it wasn't the strongest ending, but it wasn't the weakest either. It was nice to run around in this world one last time with the prince. And I like that this whole futile quest to save his brother sort of adds its own flavor to his desperation and warrior within to save himself, because now you know he must be thinking this entire time, Am I just as doomed as Malik was? Am I just being too blind to see it? I mean, the way I played Warrior Within, it felt like he was just so desperate he'd literally try anything, no matter how ridiculous it is. Hence, going to the Island of Time and trying to go back in time and prevent the Sands of Time from being created in the first place. But if there was doubt in the back of his mind that entire time, that makes the fact that he kept going even more impressive. Farsi! Okay. I had wondered if Ratash was Ifrit, really? Or Ifrit? Huh. I was wondering if that was a real language or just gibberish. Actually, I can't even tell if that was the Farsi language or not. Maybe Ratash was speaking nonsense. Though I suppose I can't really remember anyone else in the game speaking in tongues. It is a bit weird that the main villain of the game doesn't speak English and never really has a conversation with the player, but, you know, like the Forgotten Sands and its army themselves, Ratash was really more meant to be like a force of nature, just this all-powerful, dangerous thing that you needed to stand against, as opposed to like a cunning villain who was, who may or may not be working his way around your plan as we speak. I like to ask at the end of a thing, do I recommend this game? And, yes, I do. If you liked the Sands of Time trilogy, and you don't mind that this one sort of tries to do its own thing, rather than just copying the old games one-to-one, yeah, I think I'll have a good time with this. I don't know that this would be a good place to start with the franchise. But yeah, if you've done the Sands of Time trilogy and you want one more spin around in that setting, by all means, I recommend that you play Prince of Persia, Forgotten Sands. Oh, I guess they're just... Yeah, that's right. Ubisoft likes to have a ton of different subtitle options, not necessarily voice actors. That's why the Dutch one didn't have any voice talents listed. I guess I didn't notice any. Maybe I'm just staring off into space and being blind. Vaclav Polacek. That's a cool name. Sounds slightly villainous, but that's okay. Stretch. They're going to put out a HD re-release of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time or next year. I think it's next year. It's whenever. It's after this, I believe. I don't think it's come out yet, but I might be wrong about that too. I don't think I'll be making a series out of that one, since I've already played all of the Sands of Time, and that's just that game again, but prettier. But, you know, if you're really interested in the Sands of Time trilogy, You could do worse than buying that to tell Ubisoft there's still interest in Prince of Persia. I'm just saying. I mean, for what it is, for, something that is technically a movie tie-in, that's pretty incredible that this game is as good as it is. Ubisoft are quite thorough in their credit sequences. Though not as thorough as Crytek. I seem to remember the credit sequence for, Crisis just looped until you exited out of it. I wonder what the Dare team is. Fire Architect is not a credit I have ever seen before. It seems like they split them up into code-named teams and just had them working on different parts of the game separately. I wonder why. Maybe it's faster. Multiplayer engine team. I didn't think this game had any multiplayer in it, but what do I know? Oh, here we go. Ding dong? I'm not even going to question it. Sure. Sure. I don't know that there's not a part of the name where that part of the world rather where that name isn't silly. not sure what else to say. I'm just kind of waiting out the credits at this point. Oh, at some point, since I started this game, they actually changed the name of the Uplay program to Ubisoft Connect. I don't know why they did that. It's not a new game launcher from Ubisoft, it's just they renamed the old one. Are they just literally listing everyone who works for them? Because I don't think the people who are webmasters for Uplay.com have anything to do with the making of the Forgotten Sands. I'm just saying. I'm just curious. Huh. Powered by Adobe Flash. I did this just in time, then. Since they're retiring it next month.
The sands disappeared as if the storm had never happened, though it left its mark in the crumbling stone of the palace walls. I found the sword where it had fallen from Ratash's body. The metal was cold in my hands. I spoke Razia's name, but there was no answer. I returned the sword to the underground city. It seemed right that Razia should be left in the city she called home. And I could not bear to keep the sword with me. With the city secure in the hands of Malik's advisors, I begin the most difficult task of all. I must return to Babylon to tell our father what has happened.
Okay, so that kind of felt like they were rushed and didn't have time to fit the full story in traditional ways. Pardon me a moment. Sorry about that. I think it's a bummer that even Razia died. Although I understand that they needed a very compelling reason for the prince to return the sword underneath Rakem, so that he didn't, so that he had an excuse for not having this incredibly powerful magic sword with him for Warrior Within and the Two Thrones. Well, let's see. Challenge mode. What's in here? Enemy Tides. Defeat increasingly difficult waves of enemies to complete the challenge. And when you have to unlock through Uplay. Regular ass sword. I can still do this. Oh god. What? That was weird. I couldn't move for a second there. Ah, this is silly. We all know what this is. It's just fighting dudes for no reason. Besides, this has gone on for a fair amount of time anyway. Is that the menu there? Yeah, play as the prince or play as Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed. If I continue, what happens? Okay, it's the boss fight against Ratash again. Fair enough. But, yeah, I think we've seen enough of this game. Not that I'm getting sick of it or anything. It's just, it is almost a month later than I'd hoped to finish it. C'est la vie. I'm glad I finally made it to the end, and I'm glad I've seen all 4 games in the trilogy now. Maybe this is the end. And if that's the case, then I'm glad I was able to experience it. Or maybe someday they'll come back to Prince of Persia. When that day comes, we'll be waiting. But for now, I'm BurningDogFace, and on behalf of myself, the Prince, and poor, dear departed Razia and Malik, I thank you for joining me for Let's Play Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. I hope you've enjoyed this game. I hope you've enjoyed this journey, rather. And I hope you'll join me for my next video series. Till then, have yourselves a great day, Burning Dog fans. Later!